Hi boys and girls. For this week's theme, Make a Splash, I am going to read a book about Jacques Cousteau, who was a famous explorer of the ocean. And my story today is called The Fantastic Undersea Life of Jacques Cousteau, and it's by Dan Yaccarino. Growing up in France, little Jacques was a weak and sickly boy. Doctors encouraged him to swim to build up his strength. He discovered that he loved the water. Jacques also loved to tinker and build all sorts of gadgets. He saved his money and bought a camera to make his own movies, then took it apart to see how it worked. When he was a young man, Jacques was badly hurt in a car accident. Doctors told him he would have to wear arm braces for the rest of his life, but he refused to accept this. Just as he had done before, he turned to the sea for strength and swam every day in the Mediterranean. A friend gave him a pair of goggles so that he could see underwater. Those goggles changed his life forever. Cousteau wanted to stay underwater longer to see even more. The diving suits of his day were heavy and bulky. They didn't allow him much freedom of movement, and an air hose tethered the diver to boat. So Jacques set about tinkering, fashioning snorkels from things like inner tubes and garden hoses, but they weren't good enough. Cousteau and his engineer friend, Emile Gagnon, created a breathing apparatus they called the Aqualung. It was the first machine that would let a diver breathe underwater for long periods of time. Now, Cousteau was free to truly explore. A silent world opened up to him. Cousteau wanted to share the amazing beauty of the sea with the world, so he created an airtight cover for his camera. He made lights to illuminate the sea's mysteries and found ways to film underwater. Cousteau bought a boat and turned it into his very own floating research lab and film studio. He sailed his beloved Calypso all over the world. Cousteau discovered many treasures in the Mediterranean Sea, and it was there that he shot The Silent World, the first full-length, full-color underwater film ever made. It took the world by storm. Cousteau's film gave people their first glimpse of the amazing universe under the waves. Everyone loved what they saw as much as Jacques did, and they wanted to see more. So Cousteau set about showing them. He and his team created even better diving equipment and cameras. Cousteau's team invented the diving saucer, which could hold 2 people and descend 350 meters into the ocean. Next came the Sea Flea, which held 1 person and could go down 500 meters. Cousteau was on a never-ending quest to go deeper and learn more. Cousteau explored the frigid waters of Antarctica and found them teeming with penguins, humpback whales, and squid. Cousteau wanted to see if people could actually live underwater, and his team built a series of underwater labs where people lived and worked for days and weeks at a time. But they found that people need sunlight to live, and so Cousteau's dream of colonizing the ocean was not to be. Jacques Cousteau was the world's ambassador of the oceans. He produced 50 books, 2 encyclopedias, and dozens of documentary films. His popular TV series, The Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau, brought whales, octopuses, otters, and dolphins right into people's living room. While exploring off the coast of Australia, Cousteau and his crew saw coral reefs, kelp forests, and sponge gardens. They came face to face with the leafy sea dragon. When diving in the waters near France, Cousteau and his crew found a sunken ship full of wine jars over 2,200 years old. They tasted the wine. Alas, it was bitter. The fish off the coast of Africa were friendly and curious and did not swim away. Cousteau was the first human being they had ever seen. A big grouper adopted the crew while they were filming and mischievously knocked over lights and cameras. But when they went back to the Mediterranean, Cousteau found it had changed, and the seas were polluted, plants and animals were dying, and so the ocean's ambassador became their most important defender. He started the Cousteau Society, which is committed to educating people about ocean life and protecting our seas from pollution. Jacques Cousteau loved the sea. He shared its beauty with the world so that everyone could love and cherish it too.
Hi, we have a craft today to go with our story. In our story, the waves rolled in and rolled out, and in our activity today, we played wave tag and went in and out. Well, our activity here is making a wave in a bottle. And so we're going to make this today, and it's a really fun activity that you can make at home. So that's our wave in a bottle. There are 4 things you're going to need. You're going to need oil. I use vegetable oil. You're going to need water. You're going to need blue food coloring, and you're going to need a pecan. And the pecan can be your surfboard, or it can be your boat. You may want to make sure you have adults' permission before you start, because some of the things can get a little messy, like the oil and the blue food coloring. So we're going to start by taking some water, and we're going to pour in about a 1/4 full. That's all the water you need. So in order to make our wave, we might add a few drops of food coloring. That makes our water. And now we're going to make it so it looks like a wave. So we're going to take our vegetable oil and we're going to fill it almost all the way to the tippy top. We're going to leave a little space. We're going to drop our surfboard inside, or our boat, and then we're going to let it settle just a little bit to get some of the bubbles out. And once the bubbles have settled, you're going to add enough just to the tippy top. So you're going to have to be very careful. Adult might want to help you with that. And put on the lid. Make sure the lid is on nice and tight. And now, when you're ready, you have your wave. You can see where that pecan is going to go up and down in the waves. And that's a wave in a bottle. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll really have a good time making that.
Bubbles are always lots of fun, and they can be fun if you do them outside, especially on a little bit of a windy day. The dish soap is kind of a sticky mess, so it is good to do it outside. You can mix up your own bubble solution. We found there are different proportions that were used, but to start with, we used 2 gallons of water, about a half a cup of Dawn dishwashing soap, and then some glycerin. The recipe said 6 tablespoons of glycerin. Glycerin is used in cake decorating, so you'll find it in the cake decorating section of the store. Mix that together. You might want to change those amounts. You can always add more dishwashing soap or more glycerin, and then stir it up in a container. And the fun part is trying all kinds of different things to be bubble blowers. This was suggested 2 straws with a piece of cotton string. Lift them vertical.
Straight up. Sure. So you kind of dunk it in, lift straight up, and blow.
Now the wind will take that and make a nice big bubble.
Yeah.
If it's not too strong a wind. That's good. We also tried just a piece of rope because it will absorb the, oops, I can't stick my fingers in there. It will absorb the soapy mixture. Or if you don't have those things available, you can make your own bubble blowers with a pipe cleaner.
That's right.
And just twist it into various shapes. That was good, Chris.
Just like the wand you'd get in your bubble if you bought them at the store.
We wondered if a square one would make a square bubble. What do you think? Another suggestion is the cut out the bottom of a plastic bottle. Dip it in your solution.
I bet you could take a pool and put your solution in that as well.
A small wading pool. In fact, I heard a suggestion, Chris, of having your solution in your wading pool, then let a small child stand in the pool in the middle of a hula hoop. You're supposed to be able to pull the hula hoop bubble up over the child's head.
That would be super fun.
That would be fun to try.
Something definitely to try.
Yep. You might need to mix a little bit more glycerin, a little bit more dish liquid. And it also said if you let the mixture set, then you have a little more success with the bubbles. But take it out on a windy day and see what kind of success you have.
Today with our theme, Make a Splash, we're going to make some really neat treats. I have some flip-flop cookies and I have some flip-flop sandwiches. They're very easy to make. You'll need a peanut butter shaped cookie. You'll need a couple fancy candies. I just have some in a little jar here. You'll need some frosting and you'll need some food coloring. So the first thing you do is you take a plastic bag for easy cleanup. You put a little frosting down in the corner. You take a few drops of whatever color of food coloring you want. I chose red. And you're going to carefully mix it up. Now food coloring is messy, so make sure you ask permission before you start using it, because it can get on your clothes and on the table and stain. So once you get it mixed up to the color that you would like, then you're going to kind of squish it down there, give it a twist, take a pair of scissors, cut off the tip, and you're going to make the straps for your flip-flop. When that's done, you just add the little candy to finish it off. And there you have your flip-flop cookies. Now to make the sandwiches, you're going to need 2 pieces of bread. I cut them in half. I like using kitchen scissors. They're safer and easier. And you're just going to cut the shape of the flip-flop out. Makes it easy for kiddos to help out, and they're pretty dull, so you don't have to worry about fingers being cut. And you can save the scraps for another day. Cut them both out. Just do the best you can. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, now you have your shape of your flip-flops. So you're going to grab your favorite meat and cheese and make your sandwich. Now to get the straps for your flip-flops, I'm just going to use some spring onion. So I'm going to cut off a few pieces of that. And that'll make just the straps for your flip-flop. And then to make a cool embellishment, you just need a cherry tomato or a grape tomato. And you just put it on top. And that would be your flip-flop sandwiches. Easy to make, easy cleanup, and a lot of fun.
Hi boys and girls, we're going to play a game on sink and float. We have a bowl of water and we have several household items. As you know, the more dense or the more molecules an item has, the more likely that it's going to sink. If it has less density, it will float. So let's start with a candle. What do you think, Spencer? Is it going to sink or float?
I think it's gonna float.
You're right.
It floats.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna take that one out. Now, if I had a key and I was at the lake, would this sink or float?
I think you'd be out of luck and it would be at the bottom of the lake.
Let's see. Sink or float? Card key. Oh, I think you're out of luck. It sunk to the bottom.
Now, what do you think about a real golf ball and a plastic golf ball?
I think the real will sink and your plastic will float.
Let's take us. You're right. It's a lot heavier.
If I had a snake like this snake, do you think that would sink or float?
It might float if it's made out of plastic.
I think it's made out of plastic. Let's see. Oh, it sunk right to the bottom.
How about an eraser versus a Nerf gun bullet?
I think they're gonna, well maybe, I think the Nerf is gonna float and I think the eraser will sink.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Now, take these guys out. Now, let's see. If I had a boat made with a rubber pad and a piece of paper, do you think this is gonna float, my little boat I made?
I think it is. I think that might be a sponge, kitchen sponge.
Oh, it's kitchen sponge, yes.
I think it's gonna float.
Let's see. Oh, it floats. A little
Well, it might soak up.
Well, yeah. Let's see what it's doing here.
It's still gonna float.
It's still gonna float.
Okay, I've got a boat made out of aluminum foil and it has two oars made out of popsicle sticks. What do you think?
I think it's gonna float.
The way it's constructed around the sides so the water can't flow in,
Yeah.
it's a pretty
It's
good boat.
sturdy boat.
What do we have next?
What about an orange? Now, there's two parts to this. I have the skin on one part, so we'll see what happens to this orange when the skin's on. Do you think it's gonna sink or float?
I think it's gonna float with the skin on.
Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah. Yep, it does. If I take the skin off, what's it gonna do?
While Spence is peeling the orange, how about just a rubber ball? I think it's gonna float. What do you think, Spencer?
A rubber ball? Yep, it just floats.
How about a little tiny bouncy ball?
I think it's gonna sink, honestly. Yep.
Look, it's acting like it wants to come back up.
Maybe it will.
Maybe not.
Yep.
And what do you think about a grape?
Oh, a grape I think will sink. Yep.
Okay, we're ready for the orange.
I got the skin off my orange now. Kids, do you think this is gonna sink or float? Sharon, what is your guess?
Well, it doesn't have the peel. With the peel, it floated. I think it made a little air cushion around the orange. So I'm thinking it might sink.
Okay, let's try it. Oh,
It's kind of a bobber, isn't it?
yeah, it kind of bobs up and down. Huh. But you know, I think it's gonna float mostly.
So we have one more boat.
One more little boat. Now this is made with a juice packet. I'll take my orange out here. This is made with a juice packet and a straw and a little paper. So let's see if this sinks or floats. It floats. Now you would want a boat that would float.
I would.
I would definitely want a boat that floats. So.
And if you're in a boat, kids, always remember to wear a life jacket,
Yes.
just in case. And I think you can have a lot of fun with this activity at your house, just trying everyday objects and have your family be challenged to whether it will sink or float.
Yeah.
Hi kids. We are celebrating the end of our summer reading. We hope you've enjoyed the summer as much as we have. We like to party and celebrate with a cake, and we thought we would give you some ideas of a dessert you could make for your family. We started out with just a basic cake. Mom or Dad could help you bake, or you could pick one up at the store. We frosted it blue, and then we added just a little bit of white frosting to make white caps in the water. So you can see that it is like a ocean or a swimming pool with waves. Just swirl that around a little bit to make it look a little bit more realistic. And then we have some decorations, and we thought we'd make a beach, and we're all gonna add to it and make it a festive summer fun cake.
We need a little bit of sand for our crew to hang out on. And I used graham crackers that I rolled real fine with a rolling pin for our sand. Do you want more than that?
Well,
Do it so the glue doesn't show.
sand's always good to make sand castles and
We
dig, bring a bucket.
We have some teddies that are gonna sun on the sand. Maybe we want to cover the blue up pretty well since it's our beach.
If you can't make it to the beach, you can have a beach to eat.
Okay.
There, that looks
That
good.
looks
That looks good.
Now I have some Teddy Grahams, and like she said, they're gonna go sunbathing, so we can just buy these guys, finding some guys that look good. So lay them on the sand, put them in the sand. I also have little floaties, so they can be out in the water, floating around. So I have little Peachios. I just put my little Peachio right out in the sand. And then put him right in there, so he's just floating. And do a couple of those little guys.
That's cute.
Put them all floating. I'll do one more little floaty guy. And I'll put him right here. Like that. And then I have some fishies that they can be swimming out in the, so I have these Swedish fish.
Big ones.
Just put some big fish.
Mhm.
They're all swimming out there.
Nice. Okay, the beach bears are getting warm, so we brought some umbrellas. Poke in for those beach bears. And are they lucky or what? The hula girls came to entertain today. Maybe they're in Hawaii.
They could be.
Ooh, they might like a palm tree too.
I bet they
They
would.
would like our Lays too.
Poke one of
Oh.
those in.
They need some palm trees.
Palm trees. You kids could have a lot of fun with this. You could add your toy boats, anything you can think of to make a nice beach cake to celebrate summer.
Today we're going to do an experiment using a watermelon. It's perfect time in the summer to eat watermelon, so get a watermelon. I cut mine in half. You can definitely leave it whole and just cut the top off like you would a pumpkin. It has a great effect with that, but scoop out all the flesh, eat that, and then you're ready for your experiment. You are going to need a ½ cup of baking soda. You're going to need some vinegar in cups. You will add a few drops of color if you want. Make sure you check with an adult first. I'm going to do, since it's 4th of July weekend, red, white, and blue. Food coloring can get a little messy, just make sure you ask. So, all you need is your watermelon bowl. Dump your ½ cup of vinegar, or your ½ cup of baking soda in. Take your red vinegar, your white vinegar, and your blue vinegar, and have a lot of fun. You can mix it up, check the colors, see what happens. Lots of things you can do. It's a lot of fun. So have a good time with this watermelon experiment.